The U.S. labor market cooled notably last month after the U.S. added 175,000 jobs in April, less than the 240,000 that economists had expected. But let's zero in on the tech sector for a second here. That industry seeing sharp decelerations in hiring in recent years, as well as slashing hundreds thousands of jobs this year. Just in April alone, some of the world's biggest companies, including Tesla, Google, and Apple, collectively cut over 20,000 jobs. This according to the latest data published by Layoffs.fyi. For more on this, I'm joined by Paula Bratcher Ratliff, who is the Women Impact Tech CEO. Great to have you here with us today. Let's talk about some of the broader layoffs that we've seen within tech and what you're noticing, especially as it impacts women in the workforce.
Thank you so much for having me today, Brad. The implications of the data are pretty striking. We've had 4 years of significant volatility for tech workers. Most significantly impacted are the salaries. As we are starting to see things improve, you can't ignore that there's been a significant decline in salaries across the U.S. Our data shows that salaries have decreased for tech workers at about 12.1%. And the markets that are most drastically impacted are markets where we see tech hubs like Silicon Valley. They took probably the largest impact at about 15%, with other tech hubs like New York and Seattle following behind at 11 and 12%. Yes, you're showing the best news of the information that we're gathering, and that is that some smaller areas, less known for tech hubs, are gaining in salary increases. So markets that we're encouraging women in technology to focus on are markets like Houston, Austin, Phoenix, where we are seeing increases in salaries for tech workers across the U.S.
Yeah, it's actually remarkable. And I remember actually visiting all of these cities over the past several years and speaking with people about the number of tech roles and companies that were setting up camp. I mean, Austin naturally gets brought up with, of course, Google or Alphabet right in downtown area, and then the number of tech companies and jobs that get brought that direction. Tesla also setting up factory there. All of these things considered, what are the types of roles that we're really seeing emanate in a lot of the inclinations that companies have right now to grow out their business?
Right, that's a great question. And what we're seeing some increases this year that have been a really positive influence. So we're seeing about 20% increase over prior year's trajectory and hiring for tech workers. And a lot of that has been powered by AI. So there's always been this concern, will AI cause us to lose more tech workers? And we're seeing the opposite effect. AI and other innovations are driving more tech need for organizations, and we're seeing improved hiring and improved hiring in the human capital space for tech because of AI and the impacts of resumes and resume writing. So I think for the tech sector, AI is definitely seeing a positive trend for them, and we expect to see that continue through 2024 throughout this year.
You know, you started to touch on this. Just want to circle back to it. The wage disparities that we're seeing right now in the tech sector, what is the leading cause of that from your analysis and what you're studying?
Yeah, unfortunately, we saw women in the workforce actually making improvements in gender equity as we came out of the pandemic. Unfortunately, over the last year, those small improvements that we saw have now leveled off to where when you look at the data across the board for the last 4 years, we're still seeing women make about 16.5% less in tech than their male colleagues across the board.